Finally, another video for you guys. It's been a little while since the last one, a bit over a year now. I didn't plan on being that long since putting the video out for you guys. I have been super busy, and some of the reason for justifying, well, we'll yet to see justifying buying this new CNC lathe, DN Solutions. I eventually get it right. Slash Doosan CNC Lathe. Basically, there's no more Doosan CNC lathes anymore. It's all changed over DN Solutions as of, I think, mid-2022. I think they've changed over. Puma GT 2100M. It's a boxway machine. 2100 meaning 210mm chuck, and M's obviously for milling. For those who probably know the machine, I'm not telling you anything new. I'll take you over and give you a quick look over the machine. It's a bit of a touch base with you guys. I haven't talked to you guys for a little while now. Well, pretty much 15 months, I think, since the last video. I think it's something like that. And I'm planning on doing more videos for you guys, but just a matter of having time, and having this new machine will definitely make a difference. Not quite at the point ready to run as yet. Pretty typical of me, isn't it? Buying a machine that doesn't actually run. But the power's onto it. I've got temp air onto it, which I'll still have to put permanent air onto it. I've got conduit coming in through the roof. The power's on, as I say, but just got to get the air on, which is not a big job. It's just having time in between jobs. I've sort of jumped in the middle of doing jobs at the moment just to do this video. I thought, well, it has been a little while, and just be good to say hello to you guys. As far as the machine not going yet, the only thing that's not really going on it yet is I don't have a chip conveyor on the machine, which I'll show you what inside in the belly of the machine. I don't quite have enough room at the end of the machine to run a chip conveyor, so that has to sort of sit over on the side. So when I eventually sell this machine one day, someone's going to get a second-hand machine with a brand new chip conveyor. So what I have to do is make up some chip trays to actually put in the bottom. Not the best idea, but it is what it is for the amount of space I've got. I don't run the machine 24/7, so I don't need to be clearing chips excessively, but of course it will be a pain from time to time. I don't have a chip conveyor on my CNC mill, so I've sort of got used to it. It's not the ultimate thing to do when you're going to run a CNC machine, because they are a production machine, but as I say, it is what it is, and I have to make it work with what I can do. So the footprint's similar to the Mazak, which was some of the reason for buying it. Not waste too much more time, go for a bit of a look over the machine for those who are interested in CNC machines, and talk a little bit more what's planning for the future. If I think of anything else I can talk about in the video, and we'll just go over and have a look without trying to show you the machine. Fanic controller, you do have an option of Siemens. Unfortunately, the timeline for a Siemens controller is, well, so I've been told 12 months. Well, why it takes 12 months to get a machine with a CNC controller, but apparently that's the timeline. I know another guy who's local to me has ordered a machining center, 13 months to get a new, well, Doosan machine it was back then when he brought it. Hadn't changed over to DN Solutions yet. That was 13 months to get that machining center because of the Fanic controller. The Siemens controller, I should say, the Siemens 828. So that's a good option to have on this machine. So that's an option you do have if you do buy a DN Solutions machine. I would have liked it, but the timeline, and I think I got quoted, well, I didn't say quoted, but the price that was thrown at me by the sales guy was, well, the timeline plus 10K. So it's, yeah, so waiting and paying for extra. So I can live with the Fanic controller. I've used them before. I'm fairly familiar with them. It's the iPlus controller, so it has what's called Easy Guide on it. So it's not too bad, but it's probably not as good as Mazak or Siemens. It's probably a good third, I suppose. It's okay. It's usable, and on a lathe it's enough anyway for what you ever want to do. Still the Mazak for me, or Mazak controller, is probably the best out there. Probably argumentative point with some people, but they do okay. But I might do some videos for you guys if there's a bit of interest there. I know there's a few videos on YouTube about the Fanic controller, so maybe I'll just see how that one goes, and if I have time as well. But get this machine going, start producing parts, and then I can start making some time for some videos. So anyway, to get back to trying to sell this machine to you, semi-touch screen. What I mean by semi-touch screen, so all the features that are on it aren't all from the screen. Some of them you have to use the actual buttons around the side to get into the actual controller, which is not a big deal. But that's something that they've put on the later models now. I'm not too sure when they changed over to the touch screen. Maybe someone was more familiar with DNN solutions when they changed over. I don't keep up with it that much. 15-inch screen, I think, from memory. Just bring you for a quick look inside. No dents in the covers as yet. Excuse me. I don't have the machine on. It's probably a little bit noisy. The camera's very bad at picking up background noise, so anything that I've got to say that's worth saying, you won't hear any of it. So I thought I'd just run this video without the machine on. Probably not the greatest to see inside the machine, but so I'm not trying to say the machine, just give you a bit of a quick look inside and see what I've got. 12 station, fully live, well, all tools, I'll eventually get it right. 12 station, all live stations on the machine. So you've got 12 on the front, 12 on the back. If you had a sub spindle, I don't have a sub. I just bought the tailstock machine. As much as I'd like a sub spindle, extra money, longer machine. So that's the other thing too. Now it's the same thing with seems to be with the Siemens controller. And the timeline I think was a little bit longer on this machine too. I got this one, managed to get this one at a reasonable time frame, which was a bit of a bonus for me. The machines are not too bad for delivery times, but still they're not exactly flying. They're not exactly flying into my country at the moment. As soon as they hit the floor, they're gone. So I was lucky to get this one actually. Boxway machine, as I mentioned. I like linears, but they have their pros and cons. The linears, you have the serviceability. Boxway, you've got the rigidity. But if on the off chance that you do damage the slideway, well, if there's a chance, there is a chance, but minimal chance. It is a pretty major job to repair the slideway on a boxway machine. Fingers crossed nothing happens there. 12 station turret I already mentioned, all live. It comes with two axial live tools in there. BMT 55 mounts for those who are interested. So that'll take a ER25 collet, so you can get up to 16mm tools in there. With reduced shank you can get up to a larger tool if you like, but that's the actual size ER25. More than what I'll ever need anyway. The Mazak only has 8, which is still more than enough, but live tools definitely going to make a difference for me, because I'll be able to finish parts or semi-finished parts off the lathe, so that'll help me a little bit anyway for more so drilling, tapping work, things like that. I'm not really planning to do any milling on it. It's just more so drill tap work. That's mainly what I bought it for. 7.5 horsepower on the live tools, so it's not too bad. Bring you around to the other side. 8-inch chuck, I already mentioned, 210mm, similar thing, 205, 210, but it's 210mm chuck. 2.5-inch through the bore. Metric size, what I measured anyway, is 67. What you can actually get through the bore is probably different, but I just measured the bore. I haven't obviously run the machine as yet. 67mm through the bore, 65, so you probably slip something in there, 65mm. Tool setter or tool eye, as on the Mazak, but tool setter, so it comes with the tool setter. Parts catcher box, so it's a little handy little add-on. For those who are not familiar, the little box comes up, so you can program that into your program, and then as you're parting off, the part can, well, not too big a part obviously, but you can see the size of my hand compared to the size of the box. No, not too bad. It's more so for running production runs more than anything else. You have small parts to do, and you run a bar puller. So basically, something you might have seen on YouTube videos, the bar puller or bar pusher. Not for me, bar pusher, because I don't have the room, but bar puller for me, which I probably will have on the machine for certain jobs. Comes in, grabs the part, pulls the part out, the chuck clamps, and then the machine starts up again, and you can just basically just keep going. So the program that box to come up, part off, bar pull, and just basically keep running like that. The idea of it is so you don't have to stop the machine, and then the little box just drops down into this. That's great of me. Comes into this little box here, so all your parts are just sitting in there waiting for you. It's a little handy feature. As I say, the chip conveyor I don't have, so you're looking into the corn tank at the moment. I just put enough corn there to get it commissioned. The tech's just not long done the commissioning on the machine, so I had to put some corn in there just to get the corn system running, so everything was good after the machine turned up here. They do a commissioning, well, like a pre-inspection at the dealership, but when it comes to whoever buys the machine, they do another commissioning at the actual premises, so that's pretty good. I think it's pretty similar with most CNC machines. Chip tray, as I mentioned, not the greatest idea, but It's actually my customers now, or my drawings are at the customer's shop now. I have a customer that does sheet metal work. He's going to fold them up, and I'll bring them back here and weld up the tray. So the chips will basically fall in there, and I'll have to scoop them out. But I've got the option to slide the tray out. I have got enough room to slide the tray out at the end of the machine to be able to empty the chips out. But as I say, I'm not going to be running 24/7, and on those bigger jobs, it just means you have to stop in the middle and clean the chips out. So not a bigger deal as what it might seem. As I say, not the greatest thing to run for a production machine, but I don't have the space for a chip conveyor, so it is what it's going to be for this machine. I think that's about all I can sort of talk about on it. The other thing I didn't mention was, well, I'd say high pressure, but not ultra high pressure. 7 bar coolant, about 100 psi for those who like to still work in the imperial language. So plenty of coolant for your boring bars, U-drills, things like that. So that'll be good to have a fair bit of coolant for that type of work, get the chips out of the bore. So nice machine to have. I can't really think of anything else I could probably try to add to this that maybe you might be interested to buy it. But yeah, it's not really anything I can really show you in this video. I'm not really showing you how to make anything or do this. That's sort of a little bit down the road. As I've now got this machine, I can run my production parts now, not over on the manual lathe, killing myself over there. They both have their pros and cons, manual and CNC, but I don't know which one's more boring, stand in front of a CNC or stand in front of a manual lathe. But the good thing about the CNC machine is, or in my case CNC lathe, is I can probably get on social media and watch YouTube videos. So whereas on the manual lathe, you'll have to be standing there cranking handles, and that gets pretty monotonous pretty quick when you're over there running multiples of 100, 200, 300 parts. So that's where this machine will be a big help for me. So, and running any production things that I have a few products that I make, and a lot of it's, most of it's turning, not everything, but anything else will go through the CNC mill, and some parts will maybe even come off this machine and go through the manual mill or CNC mill just to give them that finish. But I didn't mention one other thing was it's a C-axis machine, something you might be familiar with. I didn't, so I'm still trying to sell you the machine, aren't I? But C-axis meaning, so rotating through the chuck, so that's your C-axis, so on your C's on your Z plane, so in line with your chuck. So it can actually index to position to do your work that you need to do, so that's where the live tools come in handy. So if I've got any drill tap work to do, the tools will come in and do the drill tap work from the sides, and it just rotates to that position. And any milling, but as I say, I don't really have any plans to do any milling on it, but who knows what could happen in future. Definitely a robust machine to do milling on. 7.5 horsepower is not exactly light. You have to excuse me for the light. I don't have a lot of light in here. Obviously this machine's not on, but the hydraulic pump and the actual machine running is just a dull drone. Maybe a little bit like my voice, maybe. But anyway, this is my new latest. I hope to come back and show you something decent. Walking backwards, hopefully I don't bump into anything. Come back and show you after what have I done for the last, what have I done with my life, or what I've been doing in my shop for the last 15 months nearly. I suppose just been flat out working, doing jobs, and now I'm at the point where I can sort of step up and buy this machine. The Mazak obviously was in this position where this machine is now. I've moved that over elsewhere. I'll be still keeping going with the Mazak, and probably a couple of videos there to go on that machine as well too. Unfortunately, that will be getting sold if and when I get the machine finished. Unfortunately, I'm not really happy about that. That was a bit of a little bit of a sticky point for me to actually buy this machine. I really wanted this machine, but really just all my heart and soul has gone into rebuilding that Mazak. As you can imagine, if you've watched my videos, the amount of thousands of hours I've put into that machine is just unbelievable. A decision I made at the time that just worked at the time, and now it doesn't. So I just need to get moving and just said, stuff it, just buy a new machine and be done with it. And that's where we are with this machine now. So I suppose in some ways I call it my time machine. So time to get jobs done and time to have a life again, not always be over cranking out jobs on the manual lathe, and also have some time to do some more videos for you guys, which I still enjoy doing. So I'm looking forward to getting some videos out for you guys as soon as I can. Just got to catch up on some jobs, get this machine sorted out. Hopefully this week I'll have a chip tray. I've just got to put it together and paint it and everything like that. So probably then hopefully sometime towards the end of this month, which we're in February now, I'll hopefully be able to get some videos. I've got a heap of stuff planned. I've had plenty of time to think about it, and I've got a lot of stuff in my head. It's just getting it onto video that for you guys to see. So hopefully you guys are sticking around, and thanks very much for those who have come on board lately, and looking forward to get some more videos for you guys. That's pretty much all I can talk about for the moment. I think I've already said too much already. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Okay, bye-bye for now.